Getting the right arm in front of you is the holy grail move in the downswing, and it's something we see every single top player in the world do because one, it helps you to shallow the club really nicely and effortlessly, helps you rotate through the ball like a top pro, and helps you control center face contact consistently. So just what you need to play really good, consistent golf. But no one tells you to do it properly and effortlessly as well. And that's where we're just going to get straight into how to do this. So it's 3 steps on how to get that right arm in front of you properly in the downswing. And the third one, no one ever tells you to do this, which is the missing key, which makes it effortless. So number 1, you have got to have your right arm set up nicely. I can't tell you the amount of times where I'll have students send in lessons on Skillist, and they will absolutely be working on that right arm lead in the downswing, but can't figure out why they can't do it. It's because they're set up like this, with the inside of the elbow pointing almost to the right of their target. So if their elbow is pointing just to the right of their target, you're in internal shoulder rotation of that right shoulder. And when we're in that internally rotated fashion, what happens is you start moving up to the top, the right arm immediately lawnmowers, like you start a lawnmower and pulls behind you. And then as you start to turn down, the right arm just gets stuck behind you because it needs to be in the opposite way. So that is where we need to set up first and foremost like this, having that inside of the elbow pointing a little bit in front or slightly to the left. Now that gets you in external right shoulder rotation. So then what that helps with is the second part here. It helps you now fold up that trail arm nicely. So that's number 2 here, folding up the trail arm. Now you've got it in that good setup position. Folding up that arm with the elbow pointing down gets you into a position where that right arm stays in front of the seam line here. So when that right arm is staying in front of the seam line from good folding up, staying in a little bit of external rotation of that shoulder, it becomes so much easier for that trail arm to move down in front of you. We see vast majority of all those top pros in that position. Right arm will be in front of their seam line. You won't see their elbow pointing behind. You'll see it pointing a little bit more down towards the ground, and then in it goes nice and easy. So you've got to fold up the arm, and we're going to get into drills on how to do all these, and it's only one drill and an extra little one for the third bit here. So we know folding it up, brilliant, sets us up into position. But then if we don't do number 3 here, which no one talks about, we're still not going to be able to do it. And that's actually got nothing to really do with the right arm in the downswing and how to get this in front of you in the most important bit, like we're talking about in this video. To get it in front of you in the downswing now, it's all about the hips. Got to move the hips properly. So you might be thinking, well, if it's, I'm going to talk about rotating the hips, well, surely that gets you stuck. No, it doesn't. If you rotate the hips properly, your right arm is actually going to go in front. You're not going to get it stuck, you're going to get in front. So number 3 is getting those hips moving back, getting yourself into hip flexion. So if we move ourselves into hip flexion here, which is those hips moving back, the upper body as a reaction is going to crunch down. When the hips move back, upper body crunches down. So flexes down. Look what happens to my right arm. So remember I said effortless at the beginning of this video. This is what is extremely effortless. If I'm moving my hips, I don't have to put any effort into getting this right arm in front of me. It just slots in. If I get that left hip moving back, which then naturally forces the upper body more down, squatted, so it gets you squatting down, and then boom, there we go. So it's all about left hip going back, hip flexion, and then absolutely, that's going to get us that right arm moving in front. So I see so many golfers who try to clear their hips and rotate them. Yes, they'll just be pushing their right side forward, which yes, that does not get the right arm in front of you. It'll get it stuck. But that's not the right way to clear the hips. Right way to clear the hips gets your right arm in front of you as well. Just the real way to do it. There we go. Just do that. So better set up. We've got now the right arm folding up. Get those hips back. And there we go. That's how we get the right arm in front of us. Let's talk about how to do some drills to get it into your swing. So here we go. Here's a drill, which is essentially 2 drills in one, but absolutely brilliant. So the first part of this drill is with this. I've been talking about this probably every video this week, and that is the impact ball or door striker smart ball. So that's where this is the best thing for you to get to have good right arm movement in the backswing and downswing. So just a small size ball, place it into your forearms, get you set up into a good spot. Make sure that underside of the forearm's pointed in front, maybe a little bit to your left as well. Gets you set up to be able to move the right arm nicely. Now, just keeping this ball in my arms, the right arm just naturally folds up. It does kind of like a half bicep curl whilst moving upwards. That's the movement, half bicep curl whilst moving up and rotating. So just keeping this in between your arms does that for you. Brilliant. Why would I want to go and fill my head with a ton of thoughts if I can just put something in between my arms and I do the movement automatically? So that's why this is the first part. Again, I want, when I'm practicing, less thoughts. I don't want more. Swing thoughts aren't the best thing in the world for your swing to change it. That's why having physical things which give you feedback absolutely is the best way to do it. So that's where if I have this, put this in between my arms, keep it in between my arms, then that is exactly what I want to do to be able to get this into my swing. So here's swing, and then we'll get into the second part of the drill. So there we go. Keeps my right arm folding up, because if it moves behind me, it falls behind. So now to get a good hip movement in the downswing, just grab a wedge, put the wedge underneath your right heel, and then what we want to do, get this to where it's just behind your left leg. That's all we want to do. Get the shaft just behind your left leg. And now this is really good because it stops you, one, rotating the hips poorly, but two, it gets you moving to hip flexion. So if now got this in between my arms, getting up to the top of my swing. Now I want to, as quickly as I can, get my left leg pushing back to where I'm pushing the shaft behind my left leg back. So you can see that's getting my left hip to move back, it's getting it to open up, and that will then get my right arm automatically in front of my body, get me leading with that right arm. Again, this is exactly how you get the right arm in front of you. One of the reasons why we see the top players always getting that right arm in front, just because they move the body so well, they move their hips so well. So here we go. Get this in between the arms. Again, this staying in our arms in a downswing is going to give us great feedback, because if this is in between our arms are nicely in front of us. So here we go, hitting this with my left leg, that downswing, keeping this in between my arms, and there we go. So that's where hitting that with your left leg in the downswing is actually really difficult to do, but just that intent is going to get you moving that left leg back, moving those hips deeper, and that's going to help you a ton for moving into more hip flexion. Again, if I now, let's say for example, do a bad swing, I move my right hip forward, I clear with my right side, which so many of you try to do, what's going to happen to the club underneath my heel? It's going to drop really early. Now we want this club to drop, absolutely, but we want it to drop after impact. So let me move myself forward so I don't hit the side of the net with my club. There we go. Get the stick a little bit more behind. So again, it's like you're rigged up a little bit, but again, how much do you want to get this right arm in front of you? If you want to get this in front of you and really play some great golf, you know, you could be doing the most ridiculous looking drills and you will then suffer through maybe the embarrassment. So here we go. Brilliant. These drills are the way to go. So again, to round up here, you want to, one, make sure right arm's in a good place at setup. Two, you want to be making sure it's folding up, not lawnmowing behind you. And three, the one no one talks about, and that is getting the hips moving into flexion, really getting them pushing back so you can get there. And then you're going to start to lead with your right arm and get that right arm nicely in front of you, just like you see the top tour players. So absolutely, if you enjoyed this video, click that like button. Want more golf instructions just like this, hit the subscribe button, hit the bell button too to be notified every time I put out a video.